Well, we got off to a rough start at the beginning of this year in the pro wrestling world with the tragic and untimely passing of Jamin Pugh, a.k.a. Jay Briscoe. It shocked the wrestling world. Everybody was rightfully very, very upset about this, very distraught, in disbelief. But one of the people who held strong in his beliefs and helped keep everybody else's chin up. This was the guy at the funeral trying to cheer everybody up and tell everybody to quit being such a fucking, don't be all sad about this. We'll celebrate you, boy. That, of course, is Jay's brother, Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, now a solo act after his brother's passing, and has now been signed to the AEW roster and has been involved on TV in this FTR and Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal feud thing going on. I like it. I like the gimmick that they did at the farm. They went to the Briscoe farm. They had Papa Briscoe on there. It's good shit. It was a great skit, actually. It was hilarious. And I'm starting to be a fan of Jeff Jarrett now, too, through all of this. I think he's being used really well. But I digress. It was Mark Briscoe on Talk Is Jericho this week, talking about how he did have that strength after Jay died, why he was able to carry on, to keep his chin up, and motivate everybody else around him. And he also talks about if he still feels the spirit of Jay Briscoe with him. Check out these clips.
Me and Jay are so one and the same. It's like we're already one and the same. So it's like I don't need the affirmation. I don't need the confirmation that, hey, brother, I'm all right. I ain't doubted since from the when it happened. Is like at first, of course, a total like what the hell is going on but then it wasn't an hour and I had made peace with the fact that he's fine, and I know that he's fine, and I can feel that he's fine, and that now we gotta carry on and do what we gotta do down here, especially for his kids and for his wife and my mom, dad too. But
do you feel his presence?
I really, truly do. Yeah. I really, truly do. And it's like more so than anywhere else is when the music hits and I'm walking through the ring. It's like, it really is. It's like, it's just a strange feeling because that was, that was our thing. We were wrestling before, we were wrestling each other before, we probably were even out of diapers and, from the time we're kids, like, yeah, wrestling is what makes it, like, I feel him more wrestling, even though everything reminds me of him. You know what I mean? I can't go anywhere, do anything without thinking of him. But when I really, really feel him is when that music hits and it's time to go do what we do,
So what was it like for you when you come to AEW and finally you're on the show and your very first match was against Jay Lethal, another very close friend of yours. You wrestled quite a bit. How was that night for you, first time on your own?
Jay had such, whether it was, warranted or whatever the word is I'm looking here for, he had such guilt that we never did make it to TV
on a national basis.
It was his fault. You know what I mean? He felt it was his fault, and it's so weird that like that first night being his birthday, it was almost like, wow, it's like this is his gift to me type thing, like his gift to us, like he would, like, for one, I just know how strong he was in his faith and his perspective and his thought on, God and eternity and stuff. So I know that he was not afraid to die. He didn't want to leave any of us. He didn't, especially his kids, his family. Of course, he would never want to leave them without him. But I know that he did not fear death. I know he didn't fear death. And so I feel like I, even more so than, like I say, like my mom or a lot of other people that would have been so close to him, me and him spent more time riding the roads, and just we had that connection where we had the same mindset, the same brain, and then it's like here we are on his birthday, a week after he passed, and he's like, there you go, chick, go ahead, baby, like go ahead, do what we do, you know what I mean? Do what we do, you know, because I told everybody, I was like, how you blah blah blah, how you do this? I'm like, if I went and balled up in a corner and cried and was sad and it just couldn't function, Jamin would do whatever he could do in his afterlife powers to haunt my ass and to make me, baby, what the hell are you doing? You know, like, come on, dog. Like, come on. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's what he would be like. But then just for that to happen, and the timing that it happened, just the timing of it, it's like, well, this is the next step. I'm carrying on, you know what I mean? I'm carrying on for me and him.
I'll tell you, as a wrestling fan, we've seen a lot of people pass. You know, we've lost so many people as wrestling fans, and a lot of them untimely. Most of them untimely. But this one hit me harder than most. I think it was because he was just coming off of that feud with FTR, looking like he was about to kind of have the peak of his career, really. Height of popularity, attention. It was just so sad and tragic, and the kids and the way he died and everything. But it was Mark Briscoe's strength that really kind of pulled everybody else through. You know, if Mark ain't crying about this, then nobody else needs to cry about it either. Like Mark said, if he would have went and cried in the corner like a little bitch about it or something, that Jay would have haunted his ass and told him to get the fuck up and get back to work. He feels Jay with him when he comes out to the ring. I don't doubt it at all. I'm a spiritual guy. Not a religious guy, but I'm a spiritual guy. And I absolutely believe in spirits and afterlives and energies. And I do believe that when Mark walks down that aisle, Jay is going to be right there with him, because Jay was always right there with him. Jay ain't going to be off doing something else when there's a wrestling show going on and Mark's on his way to the ring. Jay's going to be standing there right there with him in gorilla. Walk down that aisle. I think there's a certain, I believe in that shit. And I think, Mark has said that he's very religious. That Jay was especially very religious, and that's what got him in trouble with that tweet, as a matter of fact. And it's sad that Jay was always had carried around that guilt that he was the reason that the Briscoes never made it further. Because of that one stupid fucking tweet. Now Mark feels like this was Jay's gift to Mark after he left. His final goodbye. Here you go, baby. Do your thing. I love that. I love Mark's whole outlook on this. You know, right after Jay passed, Mark made a statement that was, it's like, hey, man, Jay's doing good. He's up there now. He's home. If you're religious or even spiritual, then you believe that there's peace and happiness and eternity after this life. This life is just momentary. If you believe that, then you can believe everything that Mark had to say in this conversation with Chris Jericho. It was a very fun conversation. He talked about the fights that they would get in. I almost clipped out some of those, but it was already going to be too long of a clip and stuff. But yeah, because Jericho was curious, because Jericho did a tribute show to Jay after his passing and had interviewed a bunch of guys. And that was something, I think Samoa Joe, I actually had it as a clip on this show. Samoa Joe was talked about how Mark and Jay would always get in fights and stuff. And so Mark told some of those fun stories and talked about how he thought Jay would just do it to fuck with him sometimes, just to pick on his little brother. Because at the end of the day, it's his little brother, you know, and your little brothers, big brothers do to little brothers what big brothers do to little brothers, you know what I mean? But fantastic, charming as fuck conversation with Mark Briscoe. The guy is an absolute gem of a human being. Sweet as all hell. Kind, funny, effortlessly funny. He's just funny in the way that he talks and thinks and describes things. And oh man, what a fucking prize of a human being this guy is, Mark Briscoe. And I hope he's utilized well. You know, he's probably, I think, still primarily part of Ring of Honor, but I hope he's used well on AEW TV too. You know, right now they're still trying to find his place, and that's going to take a little bit of time. Give it some time. Figure out how to book Mark Briscoe. Because, you know, without Jay, it's like Mark was the goofier one, right? He was the crazy, goofy guy. But he's a fighter too, so you make him like a badass fighter? Do you make him like a comic relief, or what do you do with him exactly? You got to figure that out and find that balance. So give AEW a little bit of grace and a little bit of time to figure that out. But go listen to this interview on Talk Is Jericho with Mark Briscoe. Charming as all fuck, a hell of a guy, sweet guy. And if you believe what he believes in any way, then you know that every time he walks down that aisle, Jay Briscoe's standing right next to him.
Let me tell you something, brother. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on this channel, dude. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.